Hey everyone, this is a great recipe, particularly at this time of year because it is the Jewish festival of Shavuot. And that festival for me is a time to eat cheesecake and all things cheese. All right, let me tell you about this cheesecake. So I'm going to say it has the texture right in the middle of a butter cake and a cheesecake. So you'll have a bite of it and you'll say, this is a delicious cheesecake. No, it tastes a bit like a butter cake. So it's actually unique in its texture. It is simple to make. All we need is one bowl, a whisk and a spatula and no other equipment, which is really, really great because, some of us don't want to start getting out every machine in the kitchen. I know sometimes we have to, but today's recipe is really, really simple from that perspective. Right, this is what you're going to need for this cake. So let's start with the tin. The recipe says to do it in a 28 by 18 centimetre rectangular tin, but I've chosen a square one today and I'm going to do it in this, and I've used my maths to work out that I need about a 22, 23 centimetre square tin, which is about this. It's not a very high cake, so this is actually perfect. Let's start with the cherries because that's probably the hardest item to have in your pantry or to get. The original recipe talks about a jar of these, which are called morello pitted cherries. You can buy them everywhere. These are great in the recipe, but I found something that I actually like even more. So I'm going to put these aside. These are frozen pitted sour cherries, and a friend of mine found them for me just at our local shopping centre. They're quite easily available and you just keep them in your freezer till you need them. You can use them frozen straight into the cake, or you can defrost them on a paper towel so some of the liquid comes out, but there's no need to do that. So there we've got the cherries. Let's go through all the ingredients one by one. This is what you'll need for the cake. All the measurements are in the recipe, but I'll just tell you what you'll need. You'll need self-raising flour, caster sugar or white sugar if that's all you've got, sour cream and lots of it, 2 egg yolks, kept the whites in the fridge because tomorrow someone's going to have egg whites for breakfast for sure, or I'm going to use them to make a meringue or a pavlova sometime. Please don't throw them out. They're really, really great in so many ways. We need the zest of 1 lemon, which I'm going to do straight into the mixture. We have the cherries. I've got 275 grams of these frozen sour cherries, and I'll need some icing sugar at the end to sprinkle over the top once it's baked and cooled. All right, time to start. So I've put my sour cream in a large bowl and I'm going to, with a whisk, I want to just get rid of the lumps. It's easier just to do it when it's on its own in the bowl like this. So I'm just going to use my whisk. So I got mesmerized there for a minute and forgot that I had to talk. It's so smooth and lush. Okay, I'm going to put in my 2 egg yolks. Just give them a stir. Look at that gorgeous colour. Just doing this step by step is a really good way to make this recipe work seamlessly. So we've got sour cream, egg yolks. Next step, I'm going to put in the lemon zest. So you need one of these, a microplane or a grater. And I'm just going to concentrate for a minute. I've scrubbed this lemon to get anything grubby off it on the outside, and I'm going to zest it into the bowl. Now we just want the very outside, the very outside of the skin. We don't want the white pith. I'm trying really hard to concentrate on this and look at you at the same time, which I don't want to do because we all know there's nothing worse than microplaning your fingers, not only because it hurts, because then you have to chuck out everything because you've suddenly got bits in the cake that you don't really want. So I am concentrating. Smells divine. I just love this smell of freshly zested lemon. Just delicious. All right, let's keep going. We want the zest of the whole lemon. Now, the good thing about this cake is that you can actually halve it really easily since it has 2 egg yolks, so you just go one and make it in a loaf pan. So if there's only 1 or 2 of you and you want to make something delicious for Shavuot or for any time, I suggest you just halve the recipe, go through it, write everything down, halve the measurements, grab yourself a loaf tin, and there you go. Okay, my lemon is now lovely and zested. Smells divine. I'm going to keep this and use this for juice another time. Put that aside. Okay, I'm just going to give that a stir through. And next thing I have is, of course, the sugar, which I'm going to just dump in like that. Now, the thing about sugar, in all our recipes, we do use caster sugar, which is a finer grain, but some places just don't have it. I know in the United States, it's really hard to find. They call it super fine sugar. So white sugar is absolutely fine. The thing about caster is it really dissolves quicker because the grains are so small. So you might need to give it a bit of an extra whisk. So we're just trying to quickly dissolve the sugar in this mixture. And you can see it's a lovely, smooth mixture, just like that. One ingredient I forgot to mention is salt. I always put a pinch of salt in a sweet thing. It just really helps bring out all the flavour. So just a little pinch of fine salt in there, done. Okay, so have I got all the ingredients so far? Yes, I have sour cream, egg yolks, caster sugar, lemon zest, and next is the flour. Now, you could just dump your flour in, but I really think that it's better if you do it through a colander or a sieve. I'm just going to put this aside because otherwise the lumps are a bit hard to get out, and you really don't want to overwork this batter because overworking flour is not good for a cake because it makes it tough, okay? So before I do that, and I should have done this before, I'm just going to take a moment to show you how I lined the tin. It's my lovely dog who I've put outside who's just standing there barking at me. I've got 2 dogs, one's asleep and one's barking at me. All right, so I have my tin and I've got some baking paper or parchment paper, and you can use an olive oil spray or a canola spray, and I'm just going to spray the tin just like glue. I'm spraying all sides of it. And one thing to note is that baking paper's got a roll. Obviously it rolls inwards because that's how it was stored. And just make sure you turn that upside down and do it that way, because just to help it not flip up and over during baking. Just easier to manage. So I'm just putting it in. You can see I just want it to be nice and smooth. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to do the edges because I can always run a knife along those edges if the cake is stuck to it, okay? So this is my tin ready to go. Now I'm going to change from my whisk to my spatula. Cannot live without these. This is a silicone spatula. I have about 10 of them, and honestly, I use them all the time for everything. It's not very good for those who like to lick the bowl though, because it gets every last skerrick out and there's nothing left to lick at the end of it. All right, back to this. I'm now going to put my self-raising flour into the bowl, into the colander like that, or a fine sieve. All right. And I'm just going to do it like that. As I said, you don't have to do it if you can't be bothered getting out the colander and washing it afterwards, but it really makes for an easier step to incorporate the flour, okay? And now I'm just going to gently fold it in. I want to be gentle. It's a lovely, lovely, smooth batter. So this is a slice more than a cake in that it's not very high, which is why it's called a slice, but it has a cakey quality to it. So it's a slicey cake, or a cakey slice. I know you can't really imagine what this smells like, but it's delicious. The sour creamy, lemon zest, the flour. I just love raw batters. I don't know about you, but I grew up standing at my mother's knee by the Kenwood mix master, and all I wanted to do was lick the bowl and lick the beater. I'm sure there are many of you who have been through the same thing. All right, and even now my kids who are in their 20s and older come by if I'm baking and they all want to lick the bowl. So you know what, nothing changes, I guess, from generation to generation. Now, there are a few lumps in this, so I'm just going to try to smooth them out as best I can without over mixing this batter. Okay. This looks absolutely delicious. So what I've got is a batter that's sort of the consistency of a thick pancake batter. It really looks lovely. You could probably make little pikelets out of this. Just thinking about that. There's a plan. All right, here's the tin. And I'm just going to scoop it into the tin like that. Okay. It's a really, really easy cake, and really, if I wasn't talking so much, it's a 5-minute recipe. It really is. I hope that some of you will make this for Shavuot or any time really. And if you do make it, please let me know. I'm on social media. You can reach me at Monday Morning CC on Instagram, or walking up _and appetite _ tag the photo. I would absolutely love to see your delicious slices. And I'm just going to smooth this out. I want it to get to all the corners. Yum. It is very thick and very lovely. Okay, and you can see it's not very high, which is exactly what we want. And I'm just going to get all of the batter off the spatula. I'm not going to lick it now. Maybe later. But I'm trying to get as much as I can. And see what I mean about the spatula? It really gets everything out of the bowl, and nothing does it like a spatula. All right, I think that's it. That will do for now. All right, let me just wipe my hands. And now it's time for the cherries. That's it. Now, one word of warning, don't shove them in too much into the dish, into the tin, because then they'll just disappear and you won't see them all at the top. And it's really nice to see them. So what I like to do is to put some, punch some down and keep some just literally sitting on the top like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put them all on the top for starters. You know, you could be really, really particular and count how many cherries you are and work out how many rows you need. Let's not do that. Let's just put them on the top. These are just lovely, these cherries. I hope that you can get some where you are. Frozen, sour cherries. Make sure they're pitted. I do worry, though, that they leave a pip in from time to time. So when you're eating this, you do need to be a bit careful. You know that story with the dates? I'm sure everybody will understand what I'm saying when I tell you that, you know, when you buy dried dates, pitted in a packet, I'm going to say 1 in 20 still have the pip in them. So you've got to be super careful, because there's nothing worse than munching down on a date or a cherry when you think there's no pip in it, and there is. It's not good for your teeth. So just take care, please. Here's the cherry warning. Yeah, my dog agrees. All right, so there's lots of cherries, and I'm just filling in all the gaps. I just didn't want to pour them over because all the juice will just make it a bit messy at the top. And I want it to look just perfect. I haven't baked one before. I'm going to bake it. I'm going to stop recording and then come back when it comes out of the oven so you can see what this actual one looks like. I'm not going to make you sit there for 35 minutes while it cooks. All right. I could probably chat though for 35 minutes quite easily. Okay, so see, red fingers. That's the only warning from these cherries. All right. Perfect. Now, have a look. Looks all right. And I'm just going to keep most of them up, but shove a few of them down. Just because I like them to have different levels. But you know what? No need to do this. If you don't feel like it, they're freezing as well because they've just come from the freezer. So I've got very cold red fingers at this moment. All right. I think that will do. Remember, this is going to rise. It's got self-raising flour and egg yolks in it, and it's going to rise. All right, that's it. I am going to pop that in the oven. Remember, 170 degrees without the fan. If you've got a really good oven with the fan, put it on about 155. Into the oven. I know that in my oven this is going to need 40 minutes, but what I urge you to do with any recipe, especially when you're making it for the first time, is put it in for 30 minutes or 10 minutes less than the cooking time suggests, and then check it, because you can't go look at it at the first time. For 40 minutes it's going to be overcooked, and then you're going to message me and say, you know what, you told me 40 and the cake's overcooked. So please check it at 30 and make sure it is on its way or nearly there. Into the oven now, and I will I'm gonna put my timer on for 40 minutes, and I'll see you when I get back. So the timer has just gone off. It's been 40 minutes. I did check it at 35 and it wasn't quite ready, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Have a look at that. It smells like cherries, a little bit of lemon. It's absolutely delicious, but it needs to be at room temperature or just a bit warmer than that before I can eat it or even cut it. So I'm going to leave it on the bench in the tin until it's cool, and I'll be back shortly to show you what it looks like. So my cake is just the tiniest bit warm still, but I think we can take it out. I just want to show you inside. It's spectacular. So I'm just going to use a little spatula to ease it off the sides that don't have paper, just like that. And I'm going to use these very helpful sides of the baking paper to lift the cake onto a board. See, it's very, very portable. How great that looks. See? Now, if I sprinkle it with icing sugar, now it's a tiny bit warm, it's going to melt in, so it's ideal to do it just before serving, but I want to show you how good it looks. So, sprinkle, sprinkle. It is one gorgeous slice. Let's cut it and have a look inside. Delicious. It's like everybody's holding their breath. Let's have a look how good it looks inside. It's just fabulous. You can see the texture right in between a butter cake and a cheesecake. I'm going to have a bite. It is perfect. Let me just finish chewing for a moment. This is a really great cake or slice for any time, and especially for the festival of Shavuot, which is coming up. I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea and enjoy it with this piece of cake. Just a reminder, please check out my YouTube channel, Walking Up an Appetite. I'd love to hear what you think. Till next time, see you later. Kettle's going on now.